3 passports. I want you to hold that number in your head. 3 passports. Ireland, Britain, South Africa. 1 man, 3 countries. No elected office, no official mandate, and by his own account, no formal qualification for some of the roles he later held. And yet, according to his own testimony before the South African Parliament, this man claims he helped trigger the investigation that later led to the conviction of a national police commissioner. He says he trained over 1,500 police reservists. He says one of those students was Cyril Ramaphosa, the current president, 3 passports, and a story that goes back over 40 years. If you are watching this, hit the like button right now and subscribe. What happened inside that hearing room on February the 10th, 2026, is one of the most revealing days of testimony South Africa has seen in years. Stay until the end. We are not going to stop digging. And here is why the room erupted. Before he even got deep into his story, Paul Sullivan tried to set a rule. He said it was for personal and family security. A line in his written submission, what MPs kept calling paragraph 3, said he should not be questioned about anything before 1990. No apartheid years. No early history. Just 1990 onwards. But Julius Malema said no deal. He told the committee that paragraph is not worth the paper it is written on, and the chair backed it up. If you are under oath in Parliament, you do not get to pick the time period.
That we must not go beyond 1990 on this textbook. It can't be corrected. It has got everything else to. It smells like supremacy. And we can't sit here with our clear conscience and allow it to proceed like that. We need to be advised from evidence leaders' point of view. I may not know the law. In a situation like this, what do we do? But under the conclusion that you made, that this paragraph number 3 is not worth the paper written on it. We're going to ask questions beyond 1990 and they're going to be answered here. Thanks.
Once that rule was rejected, the committee did the exact thing he tried to block. They went back before 1990. And that is where the letter comes in. So, who is Paul Sullivan? According to his own sworn testimony before the ad hoc committee, he was born in England to Irish parents. He served in British military intelligence during the 1970s. He says his work involved counter-terrorism and counter-espionage operations in Europe, including work related to the Irish Republican Army. He told Parliament he was never MI5, never MI6. He said the British Army intelligence unit he served in was a different thing entirely. In his words, I came to South Africa as a tourist and not as a terrorist. But MPs were not going to let that summary stand unchallenged. Because the story of how Paul O'Sullivan became one of the most debated figures in South African law enforcement, according to media coverage, is far more complicated than a holiday and a property deal, and it starts with a letter. A letter from 1982. During the hearing, evidence leader advocate Norman Arendse presented a handwritten letter dated November 23, 1982. According to the evidence presented, it was addressed to a man named S.S. van der Merwe, then the Director General of the Department of Internal Affairs under the apartheid government. In that letter, according to Arendse's reading of it before the committee, O'Sullivan wrote that he had sold his house in the UK with the intention of settling in South Africa. He reportedly described South Africa as a country without communist-inspired unions. The letter reportedly described it as a good Christian country, and it stated he would learn Afrikaans to integrate. Now think about the year, 1982. Apartheid was in full force. People were being detained, tortured, killed. And here was a young man from Britain asking a senior apartheid government official to help him move there. O'Sullivan confirmed under questioning that the handwriting appeared to be his, but he said he had only seen the letter for the first time the previous week when it reportedly appeared on social media. He said it was over 40 years ago, He was in his 20s, and he claimed that a man named Frank Martin, a former prisoner of war who had known his father, told him what to write. Arendse reportedly told the committee that the letter called O'Sullivan's stated reasons for coming to South Africa into question.
As I so want to stay in this country, which I love so much and believe in it, as there are few countries left in the world that is not riddled with communist-inspired unions and unsettlement, I so believe that this is still a good Christian country, and as a Christian, I feel it is the ideal environment to raise a family. I have already applied for a course in Afrikaans as I want to completely integrate with the South African way of life. Sir, it would break my heart if I now have to return to the UK. I beg you humbly to speak on my behalf to someone in a position to consider me as an immigrant. I hope you will forgive me for troubling you in this way.
EFF leader Julius Malema reportedly pushed further. According to media coverage, he questioned O'Sullivan's claim that he came to South Africa only for the weather and the people. Malema reportedly said something along the lines of, "The only thing you tell us is weather. People were being killed, and you wanted to come and join that kind of lifestyle of killing people." That is a political leader, under parliamentary privilege, challenging the entire foundation of O'Sullivan's narrative. O'Sullivan, for his part, responded that he had not wanted to live in a country where apartheid existed. He said that by 1990, when he joined the police as a reservist, Nelson Mandela had been released and the ANC had been unbanned. He said he felt it was an opportunity to help build a democratic country. But the letter from 1982 tells a different story, at least according to Malema's reading of it. In his framing, it suggests a man who wanted to be in South Africa well before the democratic transition began. O'Sullivan has maintained that his motivations were personal and economic.
And then the only thing you're telling us is weather. You call the bodies of our people on the floor weather. Because that was what was happening at the time. People were being killed. And you wanted to come and join that kind of lifestyle of killing people. Are you not aware that people were being killed at that time when you were applying to become a citizen in South Africa?
Chairman, I only applied to become a citizen in South Africa in 1994.
Now let me take you into the part that made headlines around the world. According to O'Sullivan's testimony, he became a police reservist in 1990. He trained at Halfway House, now Midrand, and later served at Boyson's police station in Johannesburg for about 5 to 6 years. He told the committee he volunteered a minimum of 8 hours per week without pay and trained as a detective. He said he received an award for reportedly making the most arrests in Johannesburg in 1994. Then, in 1996, he was shot while on duty. 3 times. He described major spinal injuries from the incident. After recovering, he says he moved into a training role. He told the committee he lectured at a police training center from 1993 to 2000, teaching criminal law, police administration, crime investigation, and how to take sworn statements. He claimed to have trained over 1,500 students. And then he said this. In 1997, one of his students was Cyril Ramaphosa. According to O'Sullivan, Ramaphosa was not a politician at that time. He was a businessman who voluntarily enrolled in a police reservist program. O'Sullivan described him as a very good student. A photograph was reportedly shown to the committee. It was from a newspaper article titled something along the lines of, "Cyril becomes weekend warrior in Fairland." It showed Ramaphosa receiving an award for most conscientious student at the Houghton Reserve Police College. O'Sullivan appeared in the photograph presenting the award.
In 1997, one of our students was Cyril Ramaphosa, who's today the president of South Africa, but then he wasn't even a politician, he was a businessman. And he sat in on the training course that I was running. And we subsequently issued, because he was a very good student, in fact, I remember one of the modules I had to train.
But here is where MPs started pulling the thread. According to coverage, Malema challenged O'Sullivan directly. He reportedly asked, "You don't have any qualification to train anyone about the Constitution, even at that time, right? Was Cyril not part of the people who developed that Constitution? So you were training him on a Constitution that he helped to draft?" O'Sullivan acknowledged this. He told the committee he had no formal qualifications to teach constitutional law, but he drew a distinction. He said he did not train students on the Constitution itself, but rather on the Bill of Rights. He said he had sat with a senior lawyer to prepare himself, and he conceded that it was, in his words, quite a strange situation, because Ramaphosa clearly knew a lot more about the Constitution than he did, but the training happened anyway. And at the end of the course, according to O'Sullivan, students received an appointment certificate designating them as police constables, which means, according to his testimony, Cyril Ramaphosa held that rank. Now, none of this means anything improper happened. Training programs are standard, but MPs noted what it suggests about the level of access O'Sullivan had within policing structures during that period. Several committee members questioned whether his background justified the role he later assumed. As the committee itself explored, these are questions of context, not accusations.
You don't have any qualification, and you did not have any qualification to train anyone about Constitution in 1997.
No,
We're talking about you, not everybody, you.
no, Chairman, there was no qualifications then.
No, you did not have.
Okay, Chairman, I had no qualifications to train anybody in the Constitution.
When was the Constitution adopted?
I didn't train them in the Constitution. I trained them on the Bill of Rights.
Ah, la, la. When was the Constitution adopted? The one you are training them on?
What's he saying?
Now let me take you into the forensic accounting segment. Because after the Ramaphosa revelation, O'Sullivan's testimony shifted to the story that arguably defines his entire career, the Jackie Selebi case. According to O'Sullivan's testimony, around 2001, the chairperson of the Airports Company South Africa, known as ACSA, invited him to meet with the then Minister of Transport, Dullah Omar. O'Sullivan said a position was created specifically for him, Group Executive of Aviation Security, overseeing security at 10 airports across the country. He acknowledged to the committee that he held no degree or equivalent qualification for the role, but he said that had not been a requirement for the position at the time. While working at ACSA, O'Sullivan told the committee he discovered what he described as a corrupt relationship involving the National Police Commissioner, Jackie Selebi. According to his testimony, he canceled a security contract worth approximately 300 million rand. He said that after canceling the contract, criminals tried to murder him and brought an urgent court application to reverse the cancellation. He told the committee that the then Commissioner of Police got involved and that he later realized, in his words, that the Commissioner was engaging in corruption. According to his testimony, this collision with Selebi led to his termination from ACSA in 2003. He told Parliament that Selebi had taken steps to, in his words, neutralize him. He told Parliament, "I wanted to live in a country where there is the rule of law. I did not want to live in a country where a chief of police could be so corrupt that he could enter into an agreement that could assist a sitting president to charge a future possible president." That is a reference to what became known as the spy tapes affair, the political feud between former presidents Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma. O'Sullivan told the committee that during the period between 2005 and 2008, law enforcement and prosecutorial processes were allegedly used to try to prevent Zuma from ascending to the presidency. According to O'Sullivan, in the spy tapes, it is stated categorically about him, "Let us not worry about O'Sullivan. We will bring somebody in that will deal with him decisively." Jackie Selebi was convicted of corruption in 2010 and sentenced to 15 years. He was later released on medical parole and died in 2015. O'Sullivan claims his investigation was the catalyst that led to Selebi being charged. According to his own words, before the committee, I had started the work which became the catalyst for the criminal charges which he faced.
He was also a member of the National Executive Committee of the ANC. So now suddenly the rules relating to the Police Service Act were being flouted. And not only that, you heard about all these so-called spy tapes. And the spy tapes make it clear that there was a concerted effort on the part of certain persons, one of them being the then head of the Scorpions, a chap by the name of Leonard McCarthy. Because the spy tapes show his conversations with a person by the name of Andre Pienaar, who was based in London. It demonstrated that their plan, and they used code words, but it was all unpacked quite nicely. And they used these code words to show that actually we must get Selebi off the hook and get Zuma on the hook.
Now let me address the money question, because the committee wanted to know who funds Paul O'Sullivan. According to his testimony, O'Sullivan runs a non-profit organization called Forensics for Justice. He told the committee that the organization focuses on fraud in the criminal justice system and state-owned enterprises. He stated under oath that Forensics for Justice has no overseas donors. He said most donations come from ordinary members of the public. He described the biggest single donation as 700,000 rand from one company. He invited the committee to review the accounts, saying they run the organization on what he described as a shoestring. MPs also questioned him about Sarah Jane Trent, a woman who had been described by previous witnesses as his personal assistant. O'Sullivan told the committee that Trent applied to his company around 2013 or 2014 as an intern after completing her legal degree. She later became executive director of Forensics for Justice. But according to O'Sullivan, Trent resigned from all his businesses about 4 years ago and had not been involved with his operations since then. He said she went to work elsewhere. The committee reportedly indicated it intends to summon Trent as a separate witness. And then there was the moment that went viral. During questioning, O'Sullivan reportedly acknowledged that he had exaggerated certain claims in his public statements. When pressed by the evidence leader about specific assertions, O'Sullivan's reported response was, "I did not write untruths. I exaggerated." In a parliamentary hearing where every word is under oath, it remains to be seen how the committee will interpret that distinction. He was also challenged about claims he had made regarding an MK Party MP named Colleen Makubela, whom he alleged had posted what he described as inflammatory content about him on social media. When MK Party MP Sibanelo Nomvalo demanded evidence, O'Sullivan reportedly said he does not use social media himself, that someone showed it to him on a phone, and he could not remember whether it was on Twitter or, in his words, toxic, before being corrected that the platform is called TikTok. Nomvalo reportedly insisted that Makubela never posted anything of that nature and said the party was willing to provide an affidavit.
It was probably an exaggeration. The reality of it is...
you exaggerated?
In that
you wrote some untruths?
I wouldn't say it's untruths.
You exaggerated?
I exaggerated.
Can we take Honorable Nomvalo?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. No, we just wanted to make a request on record that may the witness, even if it's during lunch or after hours, produce evidence showing that a member of Parliament, Honorable Colleen, posted some defamatory something about him, because we stated on record that our member has never done that. She has never posted anything on any social media platform. But we request that you provide that proof to us, even if you can provide it after today's session. You can ask for from your team to look for it now.
Can I answer, Chairman?
Yes,
So, Chairman, I don't have social media. Somebody showed it to me on a phone. And it looked from what I can remember, it showed the person as being Colleen Makubela. And that's why I can't remember if it was on Twitter or TokTik or whatever. I can't remember.
It's TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Somebody showed it to me. And yeah, I can't go back and look for something that I don't have.
Now, the big picture. According to an ANC MP who spoke to media after the hearing, O'Sullivan's testimony was described as quite interesting, but the MP also reportedly noted that it was difficult to reconcile O'Sullivan's claims about being a strong proponent of justice with the decision, as a man in his 20s, to leave his native country and seek to settle in apartheid South Africa. This is the tension at the heart of everything. On one side, you have a man who, according to his own testimony, has spent 25 years fighting police corruption in South Africa. He claims his investigations led to the conviction of a national police commissioner. He says 15 generals and 18 brigadiers currently face criminal charges because of his work. He says there have been 10 attempts on his life. He brought his own security to Parliament. On the other side, you have multiple witnesses who have testified before this same committee under oath, alleging that this man wielded enormous and unauthorized influence over SAPS, IPID, and the NPA. According to their testimony, he allegedly gave instructions to officials, used institutional letterheads, blocked appointments, and sent intimidating messages to witnesses. O'Sullivan has categorically denied all of these allegations, describing them as fabrications. The committee has not reached any conclusions. This investigation is ongoing.
Good morning, Chair.
Good morning, Advocate Mkhize.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning, honorable members.
Good morning, honorable vessels.
Good morning, Chairperson.
The staff of Parliament, good morning to you. The staff from political caucuses, good morning to you. And good morning to members of the media.
So let me leave you with 3 questions. 1. That 1982 letter paints one reason for coming to apartheid South Africa. 40 years later, he gives another. Can both be true? And if not, does it change how we read the networks he built? 2. How does someone with no official mandate end up training the future president as a reservist, then claim he helped spark the case that led to a national commissioner's corruption conviction? Is this pure civic obsession, or is there a missing chapter? 3. He says he exaggerated but did not write untruths. Under oath, who draws that line, and what does it mean for police oversight? His testimony continues. The committee has asked for an extension until March. More witnesses are coming, and the questions are only getting sharper. If you think this matters, drop a comment. What do you think that 1982 letter really means? And what do 3 passports add up to in this story? Subscribe. Stay close. This hearing is far from over.